You went into that meeting believing the conversation could change the outcome. You prepared, documented, and waited for the right moment. Because somewhere, you believed the meeting was where decisions were made. Then your manager delivered the number. Your brain went quiet, and you said something like, "I appreciate you letting me know." The meeting ended. The number didn't reflect your work, and you couldn't explain why. The meeting wasn't what you thought it was.
In structured organizations, raise conversations are not negotiations or evaluations.
They are actually confirmation rituals, where the organization has already decided what it will allocate.
You prepare your case for a decision made before you even walked in.
The format of the conversation, the questions, the apparent openness, exists because participatory processes are more stable. The format serves the organization's need for smooth confirmation, not your need for a genuine hearing.
Your manager could sound completely supportive in every one-on-one for 6 months.
And still deliver a number that didn't reflect any of it. Think about that dynamic for a moment. Most people interpret that gap as insincerity or weak advocacy. It's usually neither. The support was real, the constraint was separate. Those two things can coexist, and in most compensation cycles, they do.
Your manager was telling you the truth about what they thought, not what they controlled.
Possibly because they didn't fully know either.
Compensation decisions are made in a process parallel to the performance review cycle, but not the same thing. Calibration meetings close before individual conversations open. Budget allocations are finalized in discussions between managers, HR, and finance that employees are never part of. By the time you sit down with your manager, your number has moved through approvals you didn't know were happening.
The primary constraint is not your performance record, it is organizational stability.
This doesn't mean performance is irrelevant. Performance determines where you land within an allowed range.
Whether you receive 2% or 4% is decided within what the system has already decided is available.
But the existence of that range, its size, and exceptions are determined by variables.
Variables that have nothing to do with your self-assessment.
Most employees spend enormous energy building the performance case. The performance case operates inside a structure of it cannot change. That structure is why your manager can genuinely agree with your assessment and still approve a number that doesn't reflect it. When a manager adjusts compensation, they are moving a number inside a pay structure. That number exists in relationship to every other number around it. Internal equity rules, formal or informal, require pay relationships within job levels to stay within acceptable ranges. If your raise pushes you significantly above a peer, the organization now has an equity problem. Resolving it requires either additional spend or a precedent that complicates future distributions. So the manager who privately believes you deserve more approves a smaller number. Not because they're inconsistent, but because they're solving a different problem. They are not asking, what does this person deserve? They are asking, what can I adjust in this team's pay structure without triggering a cascade I can't control? That is why strong performers often hit the hardest ceilings. Consistent performance tends to move people to the top of their salary band faster.
Once there, moving further requires a reclassification.
A change in job level involving HR approval and implications across the job family.
The friction isn't about your value. It's about what the raise would structurally signal. At the top of a band, a raise doesn't just compensate you, it reclassifies something.
And reclassifications require justification upward, in a way that ordinary annual increases don't.
Meanwhile, someone hired 8 months ago may earn more than you for equivalent work.
Not because the organization values them more, but because they were priced at current market rate.
And you were priced 3 years ago at a lower number. Every annual increase since has been a percentage of that original figure. This is the loyalty penalty, and it persists because of a specific asymmetry. Replacement cost, what it would cost to hire someone for your role today, is updated continuously. Because recruiting happens continuously, and market data is available. Internal compensation adjusts slowly through annual cycles in bounded increments. The gap between what you cost and what you would cost to replace widens steadily. Organizations know this happens.
It continues because correcting it requires a one-time exception above the manager level.
And long-tenure employees are statistically less likely to leave than newer hires. The organization is continuously reprising your departure risk downward as you stay. Longevity produces drift. It does not produce reward.
Now look at the language used when the answer is no.
We'll revisit next cycle. There's no budget. We value you. You're important to the team.
These phrases have a function that isn't primarily informational. They are stabilizing.
They allow the conversation to feel bilateral, like your input mattered. Like something is being considered, while the actual decision was made earlier elsewhere.
By a process you weren't part of. The vagueness is not carelessness.
Specificity would require explaining that process. Explaining it would reveal how little the conversation changed anything. Vague language keeps the ritual intact and keeps you oriented toward next cycle, rather than toward departure. Most employees hear that language and conclude their manager didn't advocate hard enough.
That interpretation is usually wrong.
The manager's operational job in a structured organization is stability and predictability. A manager who consistently delivers compensation surprises creates problems for their department. The system selects for managers who operate within the process, not around it. When your manager expressed genuine support and the outcome didn't move, they were doing exactly what the system is designed for. The gap between their expressed belief and the actual number wasn't dishonesty. It was the distance between what they thought and what they controlled.